Today, all around the Western world, we hear chants of Free Gaza. Unfortunately, most of those chanting are either Hamas terror supporters or don't really know what that means. But they are right that Gaza needs to be freed, not from Israel, but from the oppressive and brutal terrorist organization Hamas that has for 2 decades brainwashed generations of youth and children with fundamentalist ideals and a culture of terrorism. And so now, looking forward, after this war, after Hamas's defeat, what needs to be done to ensure that Gazans are not once again exploited by radical Islamist ideologies and terrorism? Joining us now in the studio to discuss is Shraga Biran, the author of Liberating Gaza, Breaking the Cycle of Poverty, Fundamentalism, and Terror. Shraga, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for calling.
So, what does need to be done? I mean, after World War II, the Germans needed to be denazified. Presumably, this is also the case in Gaza.
They have to be the harmonization of Gaza. But I would like to talk what has to be done here and now, because the reign of what I'm calling Biden as the Noach Tzaddik Haya B'Yamav, as the just man of the world, and he has a legacy that has to be remembered. His legacy was that poverty is creating fundamentalism, and fundamentalism is creating terror. Now you have to understand, Gaza is the poorest area in the world. Poorest. $1,200 per capita per year. $100, less than the minimum. There are 500 apartments, let's call it places, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people are living in camps and so on.
Despite, by the way, the billions that's been funneled into Gaza.
We and the world has, invested into these gangs. They've invested $40 billion during the 17 years of Gaza reigned by Hamas. During that whole period of time, what happened? That they've become more poorer than they've started after 2007. And the elections have not been anybody which says that they have a right to stay there. It's a fake elections. It was brutal elections because the ability to find somebody which is offering something to the poor people attaches them to this story of fundamentalism. But I want to say what has to be done now. About a week ago, there was a meeting between President Xi of China and Jake Sullivan of the United States. And it was a call from the Chinese, let's meet. Let's meet and see how we can solve the problem of terror all over the world. Because they are speaking in their speeches about the global problem of terrorism. You have to understand that the global terrorists are continuing to work. Nobody knows about it. It's not published, but during the years from 2007 until 2023, 70 years, they've been murdered and brutally murdered. 145,000 people all over the world. 145 people, it's a fact, it's a numbered people.
145,000
you can find in our book
terrorism.
The exact numbers. It wasn't published, and it wasn't published by purpose. It wasn't published because the people had to know with whom we are talking.
And so you're saying there should be a joint U.S.-Chinese...
What we are calling our humble eye. So what I'm saying, if China, Xi Jinping and Biden will meet, and believe me, that can be done in 2 months, because if it shall be postponed, the process of making decisions with a new administration, it can kill the whole story. Such arrangement between the two countries can solve the problem of Gaza, and it can be done by kind of a business kind proposition, which means that Gaza can become, in 5, 6, 7 years, a Garden of Eden, because it has oil, it has gas, it has a port, it has electricity, it has wonderful elements of land. It can become, we have shown in our book, about 8 properties that can be, by investment, business-like investment, create with on such a summit, make a closing, a business kind closing with firms which can do the job from the Chinese part and from the American part.
All right, well, Shraga, thank you so much for your analysis today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.